Hey guys, so I'm here finally with my plant tour. I filmed this not that long after that one scrapbook video went live about my little Sansevieria Hahnii, and I had a lot of fun filming it, but I realized I did not film an intro or an outro for it, so I'm filming this now, a month later. But yeah, I just pretty much walk around my house, show you all my plants. I'm not a plant expert. I researched the plants that I'm going to buy to make sure I can take care of them and I have the proper environment, so hopefully I have all that information right when I tell you about them. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this, so thank you so much for those of you who are interested in this. But yeah, enjoy. Okay, I thought we might as well start in my scrap room because this is my happy place and the first place I filled up with plants. So my mom and sister got me this really cool hanger for my birthday. So up here we have a corn plant. I believe this one's a Janet Craig compacta. Corn plants usually grow pretty tall up on like a big, I don't know, trunky stalk, but the compacta version stays compact, obviously. And so I just have that up here. I saved this one from sprouts. All the other ones had fried in the sun, and I found this one still not burnt to death. So we saved this one and it's doing really, really well. Down here is my Marble Queen Pothos. I love this one. It has really beautiful variegation with some green and then some really light spots. You can see some parts of it have started reverted back to the normal jade pothos where it's all green, but for the most part it's pretty happy. It gets a lot of morning sun here through my window. And then this one I saved from Home Depot. They had it planted with a couple other succulents and they had a bunch of rocks glued on top, so it was just sealed in here with a bunch of rocks. And I actually got this one before I really got into plants and realized that that's what happened, and all the other succulents had died. I couldn't understand why because I was watering them the correct amount, but because all the rocks were glued on top, the water couldn't get down to them. Somehow this one survived. So I dug out all of the glued rocks, all the other plants, and repotted this one by itself in here, and it's been doing really, really well. This is I believe called a Panda Plant. So that sits in front of the window too because it's a succulent and it loves the window. And then on the other side of my scrap room, try not to show you too much because I did not clean, but this is Steve. He is the Sansevieria Hahnii, the snake plant bird's nest that I did that one scrapbook video on, and I've since up potted it, so it's in a different pot than it was in that process video, but it's doing really well. It's got a new leaf down there and it's actually sprouting a baby somewhere. I wonder if I can find it. There it is. And I'll show you downstairs at the end. It's already had a baby that I've separated that's growing that I'm gonna give to someone when it's big enough, but it's doing really, really well and it likes the scrap room. And then this big guy is my golden pothos. Also got him from Home Depot, but it's got really beautiful bright green shiny leaves and then streaks of yellow through it, which is really, really pretty and super hardy, which is why it's way up there. Doesn't get a whole lot of sun because it's up so high and that's the only window. But it's a pothos. Pothos are pretty hardy, so it's pretty tolerant of the lower light and it's still growing like crazy. Pretty soon it's gonna touch the floor. But that is what I have in my scrap room. I'm in the office. I came in here to show you this one that I got from Marcus and I realized it wasn't where it normally was because he set it up on these bins in front of the window. How cute is he right now? This is Marcus's plant. Sorry, there's a big truck that's going by. We have neighbors moving in, but this is called the money tree. It's really cool. It comes in different variations, but it has this braided trunk. And it's pretty easy to keep as well, but this is the one I gave to Marcus, and so he's taken it upon himself to sit it in front of the window. But this plant actually doesn't need a ton of light, and it really doesn't like direct sunlight, so as long as the sun doesn't directly hit it, it'll be fine. But I'm sure it's enjoying more bright light than it usually gets because it usually sits on his desk right there. Again, excuse the mess, but that's the only one that's in the office, and that's because it's Marcus's. Okay, and then the bedroom, I have these two right next to my bed. This is my African violet. It usually has some white blooms. This is actually a newer one for me, but most of my plants like to dry out in between waterings. This one does not, and I learned that the hard way because the soil got too dry and all the blooms went, but it's really hardy. The leaves weren't affected, and actually since the blooms died, it's been focusing its growth on the leaves, and there's like a ton of new leaves that have sprouted up. But I love this one. It has really velvety leaves. And then this was the first pothos I got. This is a Scindapsus pictus, I believe. But yeah, it's a really pretty pothos. It has these like silvery bits on it, and this one's really long. I need to prune it soon. It's getting kind of scraggly. All the pothos really like to be pruned because if you cut them, it becomes like super bushy up here, and then you can put that stuff. Oh my gosh, look at all Billy's hair. Sorry guys. But you can put the cuttings back in soil and they'll reroot. And then what I usually do is, because all these leaves kind of pull towards the front to get to the window, the back usually kind of gets bare. So then once I propagate what I cut, I'll repot them back here. And again, it'll just make it more bushier. But I have these two right next to my bed and I love them. And then the other one I have in my bedroom, this one's also an older one. It's an air plant. I killed my first air plant. I got this at an art festival, a local art festival. But they told me just to spritz it like once a week and it would be fine. But these actually need to be like soaked and submerged in water for like an hour every week or two. But they're pretty cool. They don't need soil. They just need humidity, which is why they really like to be soaked in water. But you just really have to make sure they like dry out before you put them back. But he just lives up here, and I already killed one, but I bought another one for this, and he's been doing really well now that I know how to take care of it. Okay, so I just stole this guy out of the bathroom because we don't need to go into my bathroom. But this is a ZZ plant, and I love this plant. I keep calling them he's. It's a plant, guys. It's not a he or she. But anyways, they don't need much water, and they don't need a lot of light, and they grow really nicely. This one sits in my bathroom. I just have two tiny little windows in there. It doesn't get a whole lot of light. And like all of these lighter green ones are new stalks, and these two just opened. They're not even all the way open yet, but this is a really good grower and doesn't need a lot either. So I keep him in my bathroom because I really wanted a plant in the bathroom, and I knew this one would do well in there. So that's my ZZ plant. Okay, so now we are downstairs. There's a Billy. A wild Billy has appeared. What are you doing? You know, Bibby. So this one, I have a love-hate relationship with this plant. I'm going to sit on the floor with it really quick. This is a variegated Alocasia. It is beautiful. I love the variegated color patterns. It's so beautiful, but I will never have an Alocasia ever again. These plants, I don't know, I don't know how to say this. So the oldest leaf dies off for the newest leaf to sprout up. And there's usually only like 3 per a stalk. So like this one has like 4 on it right now. So one of them's about to go. But I hate how you lose the leaves in order for a new one to grow. It's kind of nice because the plant doesn't really get much bigger unless you get like the new stalks that are actually growing in. But like this is my favorite leaf on it right now. And I'm just really sad to know that like when it grows a couple more leaves, this one's gonna die. But it is really beautiful. I got it from someone who sold it to me, and when I got it, the leaves were bigger than my head. It was really impressive. But half of it had root rot, so I was wondering why it was like trying to die on me. And I repotted it and found out that half of it was already dead. So this is the surviving portion, and it's actually doing really, really well. But you can see the really light sections are not very hardy, so they do tend to like dry out and go first. But I think the patterns are really, really pretty. Like this one's like half. But I love this one. But I probably won't have another Alocasia after this one, but I really do love this plant. So that one's next to the TV, and then this one, oh, I love this one. This is the snake plant I've always wanted, and I couldn't find one as big as I wanted this one. So that's when I got the little bird's nest version, but this one is really nice too. I've had it for like 6 months maybe, and I've watered it like 3 times. These do not like to be watered until the soil is dry. And this one just like goes a while between waterings, but it's doing really, really well. And I just love how tall it is. So that one sits there. And then in this corner, I have one of the plants that started it all. This is my really poor, sad, I can't think of the name right now, poinsettia that I got from church. And it's just still kicking. Like I said, I wasn't doing anything special to keep it alive. I put it in this glass container that doesn't even have any drainage holes, thinking it would die, and it just won't. But Marcus won't let me throw it out since we got it from church. It's like special, so we're just gonna let it keep going as long as it wants. But this is my poinsettia, which is really, really sad. And then this is my umbrella tree, which is one of my newer ones, but I really like this one. I think it looks so cool. Lots of like leaves, and it branches out, and they can get pretty big sometimes, but it really likes it here because there's a window there and a window here. And then this I propagated from my sister's. This is a Dracaena, which is like they call it dragon tree. There's a lot of different variations, but this is the baby that she gave me, and it's doing pretty well. So that sits up there. And then I have my succulent corner over here. This is also one of the ones that made me get a million plants because this aloe's been alive for forever now. And after keeping this one alive, I realized I might be able to actually do this, but there's a ton of little babies in there, which I'll propagate at some point. And then I forgot what this one's called, but this is like the only other succulent I really like. I just think it's so pretty, but I forgot the name of it. Marcus rescued this one and this one from a client's house. He was getting rid of them and they were really bad shape, so they're doing really well now. These I'll probably pot separately and give to friends. Just because I'm not much of a succulent person, I do really like this one. But I'm glad I was able to save this one while I could. But yeah, it's only in here until I can pot it separately because there's no drain holes or anything in that either. But yeah, there's my succulent shelf. And then on the kitchen table, I'm gonna try and do this where there's not really a ton of backlight, but this is my Peperomia obtusifolia. I love this one too. I think it has such a cool shape. I think it's so structural, and it's a pretty easy keeper too. It just sits here on my table and I water it when the soil's dry, and that's pretty much it. But I just think it looks so cool. I love the kind of thicker, shiny leaves. But there's that one. And over here, we have my Fiddle-leaf Fig tree baby. It's so tiny and cute. These things grow to be like legitimate trees, and it has its work cut out for him. It's gonna take a really long time, but I put it somewhere where as it grows, it has plenty of room, and it'll probably never get to be a real tree in this house. But I'm optimistic, and I thought it looked so cool here, and I just think I might as well put it where it has room so it can grow as vertically as it wants, but these things can get pretty big. And again, I just love the shape of the leaves and everything. They're so pretty. So there's my Fiddle-leaf Fig. And lastly, in the kitchen, someone gave this to us at work, and I have to repot all of these plants separately and then take it back to work so we can all kind of take one of them. But there is a golden pothos in here, a peace lily, I think this is a bella palm. There was another African violet in here, but I already gave that one to one of the coworkers because that one was actually in its own pot and I already had one. And then I don't know what this one is with the flowers. The leaves look really cool. They're like thick and leathery. If you know what that's called, let me know, but I think that's pretty cool. I'm not much of a flower person, so I'm gonna make sure this goes to someone who really wants it, but I'll probably keep either the palm or the peace lily. But I kind of want a big peace lily, and this one's kind of little, so I might just wait until I can get a bigger one. But I still have to repot all of this at some point today. And then on my windowsill is just my propagation station. So these are just extras of the succulents I'm growing for friends. Here's some aloe babies. They were too small when I took them away from the mother plant, but I had repotted a bunch of other ones that were big enough to repot. And these are just taking a really long time to get established because they didn't really have a strong enough root system when I took them. I'm hoping they'll grow enough for me to give them to somebody. And then this is the baby from my bird's nest snake plant. So this is already one that it's had. There's already another baby leaf in there and one on the outside too. So it's doing really well. I'm just waiting for it to get bigger so I can give it to someone. But you saw upstairs it already has another baby growing. So he's just like the plant that keeps on giving. So this is where my babies sit because they get good morning sunlight. So yeah. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any other video requests, leave them down below. I will have some album shares coming soon, some flip throughs of some older albums. I've had that request. But this one was kind of different and fun. I know it's not scrapbooking related, but I hope you guys enjoy. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.